and that would the way that she would recognize that it was me.
She needed constant care, and to feed her would sometimes take all day because we had to feed her pureed food through a nipple, a slashed nipple in a bottle. And so her care was constant and also took a long time to get food into her. So she also had lots of seizures every day, so we had to keep our house relatively quiet because a loud noise would startle her and then she would have a seizure. So it was a very stressful situation each and every day to keep her going, to keep her alive. Hospice helped us with some very difficult decisions during the treatment path for Taylor. For example, do we do a feeding tube? Do we not do a feeding tube? Do we do a do not resuscitate or do we not? And I felt very fortunate that as difficult as our situation was, that we did have hospice to help us. And during the last days of her life, it was very difficult making some of the decisions that we had, and I was able to talk to the medical director for hospice and understand from him the processes that Taylor was going through, and for him to allay my fears about any pain that she might be experiencing or any difficulties that she might be having.
Kind of a void, when she passed away in our bed. Hospice was the first people that we called. What do we do now?
I think it was very hard for families that didn't have that support and the access to medical people to talk about some of the issues.
We had a great relationship with Kevin Pierce, who was at that time the hospice chaplain. And we were Methodists at the time, and Methodist ministers tend to move around, and right in the middle of Taylor's disease, they changed ministers at our church. And so spiritually, Kevin Pierce was just wonderful, and he was very helpful in sorting things out in our lives.
Kevin Pierce was so important to our recovery from the early stages of grief. He came to our house a lot. He would sit with me. I remember sitting with him out on our patio and talking about my feelings, and his blue eyes would well up when we would talk, and he was just such a kind, supportive person that I don't think I could have moved on as quickly if I hadn't had Kevin Pierce there to support me, especially because I really needed somebody to talk to. And Kevin was somebody that just had a talent, an ability, a gift. It's really a gift that he has, and I just can't say enough about the support that I got after Taylor's death. And I also participated in a bereavement program with Lou Wallace, and she is phenomenal and is known throughout Greensboro for her bereavement support to families, and not only families that have had a child that's been cared for through the Kids Path program, but also if you lose a child in a car accident or a suicide, you also can come and get support, bereavement care from hospice. And I have several friends that I've sent this way to receive that bereavement care. So many people think hospice is just for those that have been under their care with a terminal relative, and that's not the case. They provide support and help to many different families that have not had to use the day-to-day care of hospice. It's been 10 years since Taylor's passed away, and I finally feel like our family is in a place where we can focus on trying to give more back to hospice. Hospice gave so much to us, and very little of what hospice provided to us was covered by our insurance, which I couldn't believe. It made me very angry that here we had such a crisis situation and our very good insurance company covered very little, and hospice never bothered us to pay any bills or make good on any of the expenses that our insurance wouldn't cover, and I found that phenomenal. But I think they were so sensitive to all of the hurt and pain that we were going through that they didn't want to further burden us. And now I feel that our family is in a strong position to try to give back to hospice. And I also think that hospice is an entity that very few understand in the community. It's it's all about celebrating life. It's all about happiness in a family with that loved one that is in a critical care situation. This hospice does so much for this community, and I think if more people in the community understood what hospice is about, that so many people would want to support hospice.